Right guys, today this is my Autograph 2020 Bailey. It's a 792F with the fixed bed and rear end washroom. Now this sink may look the exact same as other models, may not. My issue is that when I bought this, I'm second owner, I didn't realise, but it should have had a pop-up plug. All that I had was one of these little rubber plugs, which kind of works, but not greatly. So you can see here that it does have, well, you may not see it. It's got a spring in it. And it just was been nagging me for a month or so. So I've done a bit of research, thanks to the guys on the, especially one fella, who I'll put in the description. Said, just get one from Screwfix. Look for one the same size, and Screwfix are fairly standard, but it has to be unslotted. Mainly because there's no overflow on these. It's a motorhome, not your bathroom. So I believe that's the difference. So unslotted. This is 40 millimeters diameter. That's what I looked for. In the end, I couldn't get one from Screwfix. It was either 32 or I can't remember the other one. It was too big anyway. So I took a chance off one from Amazon, which has just arrived today, Sunday afternoon. I've already unscrewed this, but just to show you, all that was holding it under the sink is obviously the big nut. And I've already, as I say, unscrewed it. I hope you can see this. You can see the bottom of it with a PTFE tape. And then this screws on. So you put the big black nut on first. That holds it to the bottom of the basin and creates a seal. There's a little rubber washer. And then that screws on. That's it. It's not like a traditional U-bend. It's a bit of flexi pipe. That's all it is. Okay. So if I take out, difficult doing it one-handed. Take this out. I'm left with that, so I'll give that a clean. There's a rubber. I can feel this. This is like a, let me pull this up. Here we go. Simple rubber washer. I'm going to give this a good clean, and then we'll go about replacing it. Just to clean it, this is all I'm going to use. I've used this around the house a lot. It's very good. And I've just put a bit of tissue under here to catch anything. Obviously that goes through there. I'm just letting it soak. And there we go. What a difference a bit of a clean makes, eh? Pretty pleased with that. I haven't used anything except for that flash spray wipe down bleach. Actually, it's not bleach, is it? It's, oh, I don't know what it is. Disinfectant. There you go. So I've not used anything other than this and kitchen roll. Literally. No abrasives. That's made quite a difference. I'm very pleased with that. So let's just show you the plugs now. So on the right you can see the old one, and on the left you can see the new one from Amazon. I will leave a link and a worded description in case the link disappears in the future. And this is the instructions. There's about 6 mini pages in 6 different languages, but this is the only English one. So it should be quite straightforward to fit. Instead of it being, well, it's just basically a pop-up plug. That's it. Not much to it, is there? And this unscrews. I'll just put the camera down for a second rather than try and do it one-handed. So I've unscrewed it, and then it just comes out. Obviously the white is the protective, so it'll be, I'll show you everything when it's finished. So it looks like this is the upper washer. So this goes where I pulled out the old, this old manky one. So from the top of the sink, that'll go in the top of the sink. Then the metal thing will go in. Then at the bottom, we've got all these washers that'll screw up and hold everything in the bottom of the sink itself. Okay, and then I'll reuse this little black washer, which is the one that goes on the waste pipe at the bottom here, just to keep a seal between this metal and the actual drainage pipe. So let's make a start on that, I think. So here's your instructions, literally. You can pause it now. Upper washer on the sink drain hole, which is the smaller cone one. Put the main body into the sink. Yeah, obviously that goes on top. So we'll put those together now. Then the lower thick washer, which is the very thick cone shape. Then the gasket, which is this, which will go underneath it. That's actually plastic, not rubber. And then your little brass nut. And then tighten the locking nut. And that's it. After that, you obviously put in the plug. Take off the white plastic. Put in the plug. And then do up the bottom drain. But I'll go through that now in the bathroom. Okay, so in the bathroom, I've put on the first of the rubber washers. Get it all the way past the very top of the thread. Okay. And before I go any farther, to make sure I've ordered the correct one, does this fit in the sink or not? Excellent. And that's stage 1 complete. Right, on to stage 2. We need to secure that to the basin, don't we? I can move the tissue now. That was just there. That's an old one. That was just there literally for any dirt or any water that came through. So now let's put on this washer. Get it all the way up. Sorry, I can't do it one-handed, so I'll put down the phone. So here you can see that's that put in. Now I've got the plastic washer and the big brass nut needs to go on. Now what I would say is do that hand tight as much as you physically can. Okay? Push down on the top to keep it steady. And with the other hand, that brass nut as tight as you physically can until nothing's turning. The rubber washers, both sides, will actually stop it from turning. So the tighter it is, the more watertight it should be, if that makes sense. You should not need to put a wrench on this at all. I undone the original one from being hand tight. You should be able to redo this hand tight, okay? Now let's get the drain back on the bottom and run a test. Now, before you do, just screw this on. Remember, you need the old rubber washer that came off it, okay? It basically will go on like that. It'll basically go on like this. Again, I need to be two-handed, but it'll go between that and then just screw this on hand tight. So I've placed my black washer in there, nice and level. And again, do this hand tight. If you don't have a good grip, you could get a pair of plumber grips for both the big nut and the bottom nut. And just, if you are going to do that, just nip it gently. I'm not advocating it, but if you have a weak grip because of your age or something else, because the wife's a bit like that, then yes, you could use a big pair of grips gently, but just give it a tweak. And now I guess it's testing time. So I'm gonna put completely dry bit of tissue paper underneath. I need to put the plug in because number one, I want to check the plug itself works within the waste trap. Now I don't get any leaks. I could have done that before the drain, but I wouldn't risk a huge amount of water getting under it. So actually, I thought this was a plastic film, but it's a plastic cap and a bit of paper on it for some reason. So that was weird. I was expecting it to be sort of a cling film type thing. So here you can see another washer that's already fitted to the plug, and that will seal on the inside. So let's just pop this in. Okay, tighten it up hand tight. And that should be it. I hope. Let me just go turn on the pump. I should have some water still in it. I did empty quite a bit out, but I should have some. Let's give this a go. Okay, so that's right. So that's plug down, plug up. I'm gonna half fill this basin. Might spurt a bit, as I say, might not. Let's quickly check, make sure it's doing its job. There's nothing coming out there, thank God. So that's encouraging. I think I'm going to fill this basin. Literally. Or at least halfway to make sure it's actually... Make sure the little plug inside is actually working for a start. It's not just draining past the washer. No evidence of any drips. This is looking very encouraging. Okay, I think that's plenty. Right. So it's about 1.5 inches from the top. I'm just going to leave it now for about an hour. Come back. If it hasn't dripped by now, let me just check that. No, I'm going to feel the inside. There's no drips, but let's wait and see what happens. I'll come back in a half an hour to an hour. All right, here we go, guys. It's as full as it looked earlier on. Is there any water underneath? Nope. Perfect. I can feel the cold coming through the basin of the water, but not a drop. Perfect. I mean, it's been in there 20 minutes. I've left it in the end. I thought, who leaves water in their sink anyway for 20 minutes? Nobody, surely. Let's see if the drain works. Push down. I'm sure you can all hear that and see that. And there should be no reason for it to be dripping out of here now anyway. If it holds it, it holds it. No. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. That took all of about 10 minutes physically. Took longer, obviously, to video this. But 10-minute job. I'm well chuffed. Very happy. Okay. I'm sure I'll do another video of some sort at some point, but hopefully this has been useful to some of you guys. Whether it's a replacement plug or a whole thing. But anyway, any questions you can always ask. If I know the answer, I'll let you know. Now guys, a little addendum, which I've just looked at the old one. On the old one, there was a little bit of PTFE plumber's tape. You know, that white stuff, very thin. Now, the washer, that little black washer, sits on the end of the metal. And by tightening this up, you basically crush it. So you're making sure it's fine. There is no water. It's been sat for 20 minutes. There's nothing there whatsoever. So I'm happy to leave it as it is. I always carry some PTFE tape anyway, to be fair. So I'll just keep an eye on this over the next, 5, 6, 7 trips and just be aware of it. I'm not undoing it again now to put some PTFE on there. If it's not needed, it's not needed. Okay? It shouldn't be needed. So it's up to you. You can do it to be sure. But you don't have to. So just a little addendum for you guys thinking he didn't put the tape on.